family.
Good. Okay, that's good. It's an amazing story, and it's important not to forget. I think it's easy to forget when we live like this today. So yeah, the fishing port of Maloy, one of the largest fishing ports in the country.
What kind of fish?
What kind of fish? Right now I think it's everything, but it started out with cod, late 1800, and then we have I'm not sure what it's called. You will have a look at it in a minute, because it's painted on the wall. It looks like a little shark, and we in Norway we call it pigghå. And then it was the herring. So actually 1950s, middle of 1900, there was a huge amount of herring in the sea. If you can see on the right hand side, you see a pigghå painted on the wall. So the street art, an Australian street art painter, this was. So when they were fishing the herring, they still do actually, but at the time when there was a great financial times to build this city, there were so many boats that you could actually walk, well, that said, you could actually walk from this side to the other side, just between the boats. At that time there were no bridge. You had to take the ferry, or if you could walk over boat by boat, because there was so many fishing boats. So now we are leaving the center of Maloy, and we will soon be entering Raudeberg, which is a small village, and they have a lot of industry, like building boats, building ships and such. As I said, it's based on much on fishing boats, the ocean, and a lot of our stories are our experiences with nature and the weather, apart from, of course, the war, this particular Operation Archery story. But it's also the, as I said, the nature. Only we will enter a tunnel. There's not much tunnels here, but one. The nature has a very differentiated, very different landscapes, from the sandy beaches to the high mountains, the steep cliffs, harsh sea, and a lot of weather. At winter, if you were here about a month ago, you would have been able to ski. Because then we had a lot of snow. It was white all over, and it was cold. And it also were a bit slippery. There was a lot of ice, but it was very beautiful, and we were skiing. So in the mountains here, when there's enough snow, we are able to go skiing. And then you can climb the mountains right afterwards in a day. At least what we would say is warm, but the ocean doesn't get very warm, so it keeps low degrees though. But still, it's a good thing that too. Actually, I do bathing at this time of year, so I had a bath on the beach on Sunday, so my food, just leave some money or leave your number and you can pay for it. But it's the same as with the sleep arrangement. It's you could go in, just take the food and go and leave with the food, but people normally do the right thing, so it works. This group also make sure these hiking trails are kept in order, so you could use them all year round. So that's where the money goes, to keep it safe and sound. And right in front of us we see the beach. This is 1.5 kilometers of sandy beach. Summertime filled with tourists and locals, of course. And yeah, it's a great place. And also for you who have been at the Maloy Center, right after the Maloy, the Germans, they wanted to make sure that the Allies didn't go in to come into this part of the island. So they made sure to put out mines through. Good thing. Luckily that's not the way things are dealt with these days. It was not a very good thing to do, but and also there's a saying that there was a ship because of the weather conditions, they couldn't they had troubles on the Stats Ocean, and they were helped into this. One of the street arts, I almost forgot, it's one of the street arts paintings. You can see the shipwreck on the right hand side, the beach. Yeah, that's a beautiful one. Where was I? Yeah, it's the fire. 86 houses burned to the ground. And you could think about the men who were out fishing right outside of this. But luckily, they had a lot of help and managed to build it up. Okay, if it slow down here, on the left side here, there's a house. And if you see on the south end of the house, there's a brick wall. And this is very particular for these houses. A thick brick wall on the south end. And that is because of the weather. Because the south wind goes through this valley, and it really catches everything in its way and takes it along with it. Actually, there was this large hurricane in 1992. A lot of the houses had great damage on them in this village. Also on the right hand side you see the brick walls. Into the village. So it's kind of harsh. On the left side we also have one small street art painting. This is actually one of the families who is living here. Yes. So you can see down here there is a road, and it's the old. There are some beautiful colors when that happens.
Roller coaster. Nasa kabila ka nga eh. Magalaw. Oh, ito. Ikot rata natin lahat.
Entering the most western point of this island, and where we have the lighthouse Kråknes. That lighthouse is or that place, they measure the weather conditions, so we know much about the weather up there, and it's the one place in Norway where they measures the most storms. It's not actually do think that this hurricane in 1992, which was destroying a lot of buildings and stuff, they think that was the worst hurricane ever here. But at that time, the radar, the measuring, believed to be the
Dito mas
worst
klaro?
case ever.
Wow, it's beautiful.
So we also have outside here was this is the place where they fish a lot of cod. They started fishing with small fishing boats.
Mahangin dito.
There's also a story about this ship, because in the 1920s we weren't allowed to have alcohol in this country. Because and so there were a bit of smuggling and some pretty professional activities over there, and there were they were transporting it by ship from Shetland and stuff, and there were also ships going alongside the coast, doing some kind of customs. They were checking out the ships if they had some alcohol on board. So there was this ship called Venus, the police officer in the village, and they well, the story told, they were living on this booze, this alcohol, and some of them were drunk for about, made some people laugh, yeah.
Come on, nagkataon ko guys.